I'm cutting down on everything from using the shower to using the cooker to using the vacuum cleaner and the washing machine. I'm doing a lot of washing, the small stuff by hand to cut down on electricity. I'm doing everything I possibly can. And as a pensioner, we are very limited in what we can do anyway, and we're just going to discover that, honestly, a lot of people will find they feel better off dead, to be honest.
Well, we're joined now by the money-saving expert, Martin Lewis. Martin, you've been calling for months for immediate government interventions. What do you make there of those very dramatic words we heard from 80-year-old Sheila Carell?
Tragically ordinary and not unusual. That's the problem. I mean, her words were powerful, but they resonate in so many homes. The new price cap that is coming in on the 1st of October is 37% of the state pension, the new state pension, a bigger proportion of the old state pension for people who retired earlier, and an even bigger proportion of somebody on universal credit, on the basic universal credit, what they would receive and other benefits. I've been accused of catastrophizing over this situation. Well, the reason I have catastrophized is this is a catastrophe. Plain and simple, unaffordable. And let's just amplify what the boss of Ofgem said earlier. He effectively said, in the polite way that a regulator does, this is out of our hands, it is beyond our power, we need government intervention. And we do. If we do not get further government intervention on top of what was announced in May, then lives will be lost this winter by too many people to think about because of these unaffordable, terrible rise in energy bills. And let's just, a couple of things to be plain about. First of all, I have heard a couple of times that the energy price cap is £3,549 a year. Well, let's just correct that for a second. First of all, there is no cap on the maximum amount that you can pay. This is a cap on standing charges and unit rates. The 3,549 is an average for somebody on direct debit. The cap on the price on prepayment meters and payment in receipt of usage is higher. The cap is regional. I mean, there is nothing stopping somebody from paying £10,000 a year, which I suspect some homes with people and children with disabilities who need special electrical equipment will be using. I mean, we are in an absolutely horrendous situation, and it is going to get even worse in January when the cap for somebody on typical use will move up to over £4,000. The April predicted figures, though, we don't know because we're not in that assessment period.
Right. Well, I mean, Cornwall Insights, who are very close in their forecast of today's energy cap figure, have just released their latest prediction for the January cap. And as you say, when we say cap, it's per energy unit. We're not talking about how high your bills could go. And they say for January, they're predicting a cap of £5,386. Do you accept, though, what we heard from the head of Ofgem, that they feel they have done everything they can? They've reached their limits, and that's why they're saying the government has to intervene. Have they done everything they can?
I don't agree with all the decisions Ofgem has made. I think some of the recalculations tend to favour the energy companies because Ofgem's biggest fear is that companies go bust and the state has to subsidise them more, and that's what it is targeted to do. But I do have some sympathy with Ofgem. First of all, Ofgem only regulates the retail energy firms, and they are not the ones making the excess profits. It's the gas and electricity producers that it does not regulate. So only government can intervene on that basis. Of course, some of them are the same firms, but if they're the same firms, it only regulates the retail bit. The second thing is, truthfully, some of the things I would have liked to see happen, such as dropping the standing charge, which means people are going to be paying now 280 odd quid a year, even if they use no gas and electricity, just for having meters. Well, to do that, while I've been calling for it to drop the standing charge and the energy firms have been calling for it to drop the standing charge, citizens' advice, understandably, has been saying, well, the problem if you do that is vulnerable customers who have high use and they need separate help. But we haven't had a government in place who could have put the separate help in. So Ofgem has had to work within the status quo. And we have been in a fast-changing, catastrophic situation where we all knew this was coming, but we've had to work within the status quo where there is no status quo. And I think we just need to be plain for a second, if you forgive me here. I first talked about it being over £3,000 a year on my TV show in March. This is shocking, but it is not a surprise. What is staggering is we've allowed this announcement to be made. I mean, this is within 50 quid of what we were all predicting. And all we've heard is we have to wait for the actual figure. Why? The figure is based on a published algorithm based on one variable of wholesale rates. That's why the predictions are so accurate. Why have we got to this announcement stage and still no help, firm help being announced?
Well, so the government...
The mental health damage to people across the country of this alone is catastrophic. This is not good government. It's not good politics either. I'm just shocked that they haven't thought we need to have something in place to give people peace of mind.
So the government...
to panic.
So the government, as you would expect, they've responded already to Ofgem's updates on the energy price cap level. The government says that it realises that people are very worried about rising energy bills. This is what it says in the statement, following unprecedented gas prices across the continent. So emphasising that this is not just something that's affecting the United Kingdom because of global events, including Putin's aggression in Ukraine and weaponisation of energy in Europe. So the government says direct support will continue to reach people's pockets in the weeks and months ahead. It says targeted at those who need it most, like low-income households, pensioners and those with disabilities. As part of our £37 billion package of help for households, 1 in 4 of all UK households will see £1,200 extra support provided in instalments across the year, and everyone will receive a £400 discount on their energy bills over winter. And of course, we've been hearing from the two hopefuls to become the next Prime Minister as of the 5th of September. What's your response to what the government is saying today and what we've been hearing from Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak as to what they would do about the energy crisis?
I was on the phone to the former Chancellor 4 days before the announcement of that help, and 80 to 90% of the package I requested was the actual package that came out. So I think what came out in May did the job for what we thought would happen in May. And what we thought would happen in May is we'd see a rise for typical use to £2,800. And that would last 6 months from October until April, because it was then a 6-month price cap. One of the things I think the regulators got wrong is moving it to 3 months, which is probably costing people 500, 600, 700 quid more than it would have done if we'd stepped on the old price cap. But we're not in that situation. We're now at £3,500 a year, with a prediction of January of being over £5,000 a year, and we need help for the new situation. And that should have been in place. So what the government is saying, there is some help in place, but it is to fix a problem that is way in the past. The problem is now so much bigger than that. Now, the only thing I've heard that gives me some hope is both candidates have said they understand the need for more help. My frustration is that we haven't been told in clear detail by both candidates, and especially by the candidate most likely to win, because that's the one that matters most, what that help is. So we have people across the country, and if you were to see my social media inbox, the panic, the dismay, the depression, the people simply saying, how will I afford to eat and feed myself, and in some cases my family and my children? I cannot understand why we haven't got a firm announcement to give people some peace of mind of what will come. But we must hope that once we have somebody in place, they will come up with a robust, firm, strong policy that we can all get behind, that feeds people and heats people, so we don't have people dying because of these price caps these winters. That's what my fingers are crossed tightly for. I just hope it happens.
Well, we'll know when the next Prime Minister is in place, which we'll hear as of the 5th of September. Martin Lewis, money-saving expert, thank you very much indeed.